At the airport, they said. Sorry, but this ticket is not real. Then I called my sister and asked where they were. Merry Christmas, loser! She shouted. A week later at family. I'm sorry, but this ticket is not real. The words didn't make sense at first. I had been standing at the check-in counter for nearly 10 minutes, expecting the usual routine: hand over my ticket, check my bag, get my boarding pass, go to security. Instead, the agent looked at me with the kind of polite concern reserved for people whose day is about to be completely ruined. I frowned. This can't be right. I have the confirmation email. I booked this ticket weeks ago. She turned her screen slightly toward me. Sir, that flight number doesn't exist. And the destination listed on your ticket is not even one of our routes. I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. My flight was supposed to take me to the Bahamas, where my family was waiting for me. The trip had been planned for months. My sister, Scarlett, had booked my ticket herself, saying it was a Christmas present, since I had helped her with something earlier in the year. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my emails until I found the confirmation she had sent me. It looked real. The logo, the flight details, everything seemed legit. But now, looking at it again, I realized that I had never actually verified anything myself. I had just trusted Scarlett. A sinking feeling crept into my stomach. I dialed her number. She picked up after 2 rings, and before I could say anything, she yelled into the phone. Merry Christmas, loser! I heard laughter in the background. Our parents, cousins, even my aunt and uncle. They were already at the resort, celebrating. My fingers tightened on the phone. What the hell, Scarlett? She was still laughing. Oh my God, you actually went to the airport? This is priceless. More laughter. Then she lowered her voice. You actually thought you were coming with us? My chest tightened. Scarlett, what did you do? You're so clueless, Mason. I just adjusted your ticket a little. Changed the dates, swapped the destination, just a little tweak. She giggled. I can't believe you fell for it. You sent me a fake ticket? Let's just say I made sure you didn't ruin Christmas for the rest of us. Her voice was light, amused, as if this was all a harmless joke. I gritted my teeth. So you just decided to leave me here? Alone? Ah, poor Mason. Her tone dripped with false sympathy. You'll think of something. Bye now. She hung up. I stood there, my heart pounding, my brain racing to catch up with what had just happened. The agent at the counter gave me a sympathetic look, but there was nothing she could do. I wasn't getting on a flight. I knew exactly why Scarlett had done this. Months ago, I had found out that she was cheating on her husband, Andrew. I hadn't gone looking for proof, it just fell into my lap. A mutual friend saw her out with another guy, and I caught her lying when she said she was working late that night. I kept quiet about it at first, but then Andrew came to me. He asked me straight out if I knew anything. I didn't want to lie to him, so I told him the truth. That night, Andrew packed a bag and left her house. He stayed with me for a while, completely devastated. Scarlett was furious. She tried to make it sound like I had meddled in her marriage, like I had personally ruined her life. The worst part? My parents took her side. They told me I should have kept my mouth shut, that it wasn't my place to get involved. Never mind that she was the one destroying her own marriage. In their eyes, I had betrayed her. And just like that, I became the family villain. This was their way of getting back at me. They had planned it. They had probably been laughing about it for weeks, imagining me standing here like an idiot while they sipped cocktails on the beach. I looked down at the fake ticket in my hand. They thought it was funny. They thought I would just accept it, let it go. They had no idea what was about to happen. I stood there gripping my phone so tightly my fingers hurt. Around me, the airport was buzzing like nothing had happened, people rushing to their gates, announcements blaring overhead, families rushing off to their vacations. I had 2 options. 1, I could go home, sit in my apartment, and let them have their fun. Let them think they had won. Or 2, I could make sure that this little stunt cost them more than they ever imagined. I wasn't going to make a scene at the airport. It wasn't my style. Instead, I calmly walked out, booked an Uber, and spent the entire ride back planning exactly how I was going to make them regret this. The first thing I did when I got home was call Andrew. He picked up, sounding surprised. "Mason? Hey man, what's up?" I hesitated. I hadn't talked to him much since he'd left Scarlett. He'd been going through the divorce, and I figured he needed space. But now, well, I had a feeling he'd want to hear this. "You won't believe what Scarlett just pulled," I said. When I finished, there was a long silence on the other end. Then Andrew let out a low whistle. "Damn. That's actually crazy. She really went that far?" "She did," he sighed. "Honestly, I'm not even surprised anymore." "Listen," I said. "I have to ask you something. Remember that thing you wanted to do in the new year? With the business?" Another pause. "You mean sign it over?" "Yes. That." A long exhale. "Why?" I smiled, even though he couldn't see me. "Because I think I just figured out how to ruin their New Year's too." A week later, my family returned from their trip, glowing with holiday happiness. Their suitcases were lined up in the hallway of my parents' house, and they were in the middle of telling some ridiculous story about a crazy night at the resort. When I walked in, Scarlett saw me first. She grinned. Well, look who survived Christmas alone." My parents laughed. They were so proud of themselves. I shrugged. "Yeah. It was a quiet week. Gave me a lot of time to think." Scarlett rolled her eyes. "Oh, please don't be dramatic. You should have just taken the hint and moved on." I smiled. "Oh, I did. In fact, I made some calls. Talked to some people." I turned to my father. "You were looking forward to this deal, weren't you?" My dad's face changed immediately. His smile faded. "What?" Scarlett frowned. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone, scrolled to a message, and held it up. It was from Andrew. "Hey Mason, just a heads up. I've decided not to sign over the business. At least not to you. I'll handle it myself. Thanks for the perspective. See you soon." My father turned pale. My mom gasped. Scarlett's smirk disappeared so quickly it was almost funny. Andrew had planned to transfer part of his business, his very successful business, to my father as a favor. A way to keep it in the family after the divorce. Scarlett and my parents were counting on it. It was supposed to be their safety net, their golden ticket. Not anymore. Scarlett grabbed my phone and read the message, eyes wide. You talked to him?" I crossed my arms. "Oh, yeah? And guess what? He knows about the fake ticket. He knows everything." My father turned to her, furious. "Scarlett, what the hell have you done?" She opened her mouth, then shut it. She had nothing. Mom jumped in. "Mason, honey, let's talk about this. Maybe we can." I shook my head. "Nope. You all wanted to screw me over at Christmas? Well, I just screwed up your whole future." Scarlett looked ready to explode, but before she could say anything, another voice cut through the air. "What the hell is going on?" We all turned. It was Uncle Robert. And he looked pissed. Uncle Robert wasn't just any uncle. He was the oldest of my father's brothers, the one who always settled family disputes, the one who never took sides until now. And from the look on his face, he was about to take mine. He entered the room and closed the door behind him. "I just got off the phone with Andrew," he said. "And I want to hear it directly from you, Mason. Did your sister really send you a fake ticket and strand you for Christmas?" Scarlett shifted uncomfortably. "Uncle Robert, that's Dash." He held up a hand. "I didn't ask you." Scarlett shut up. I nodded. "Yes. She did. Changed the flight details, sent me to the airport with a fake ticket, and then laughed about it." His eyes darkened. He turned to my dad. "And you were in on it?" Dad hesitated. It was a harmless prank, Robert. Just a little family fun. Uncle Robert scoffed. Fun? Leaving your own son stranded during the holidays? You think that's fun? He let out a sharp breath, his face turning red. You selfish, petty idiot. I can't believe I share blood with you. My mother jumped in. Robert, this is none of your business. None of my business? His voice boomed. You do realize that Andrew just pulled out of the deal because of this, right? Do you know how much money you just lost? Dad's face twitched. He knew. Scarlett threw up her hands. So what? Mason tried to ruin my life. He turned my own husband against me. I laughed. You did that to yourself, Scarlett. I just told the truth. She glared at me. And you just had to tell Andrew, didn't you? Couldn't keep your mouth shut? Uncle Robert turned to her, his voice cold. You cheated on your husband, Scarlett. Not Mason. And instead of admitting it, you went out of your way to punish him? Scarlett's face flushed. Uncle Robert shook his head in disgust. You're unbelievable. And you know what? I'm done cleaning up your mess. Dad bristled. What does that mean? Uncle Robert pulled out his cell phone. It means I'm going to make some calls. I wanted to help you, Henry. I wanted to help keep you afloat when Andrew pulled out. But now, forget it. You can sink for all I care. Dad paled. Robert, wait. Not another word. He looked at Mom. And you? I expected better from you. She swallowed hard, but didn't answer. Then Uncle Robert turned to me. Mason, will you stay for dinner? I smiled. Nah. I think I'll go celebrate with Andrew instead. Scarlett looked like she was going to explode. Dad looked like he was going to throw up. Mom just looked lost. Uncle Robert nodded. Smart move. As I walked out the door, I heard him say one last thing. Oh, and Henry? Don't bother asking me for help. You don't deserve it. I walked out of my parents' house feeling lighter than I had in months. They had finally faced some real consequences for how they treated me, and Uncle Robert cutting them off was a bigger hit than they realized. My father had always relied on him for business connections, financial advice, hell, even to bail him out of stupid decisions. Without Robert, he was screwed. But I wasn't done yet. I went straight to Andrew's house. When I got there, he was already waiting, 2 beers in hand. I have to say, he said, handing me one, that was satisfying to watch. You saw? He grinned. Your uncle called me as soon as he left. He said your father looked like he was going to cry. I laughed. He might actually cry when he realizes what's coming next. Andrew raised an eyebrow. There's more? Oh, there's so much more. Because here's the thing, Scarlett had always been reckless. She thought she was invincible, that she could screw people over without consequence. But she made one big mistake. She underestimated how much I knew about her. And I was sitting on something big. I pulled out my phone and showed Andrew a message thread. It was between Scarlett and a realtor. Do you recognize the name? I asked. Andrew's eyes widened. That's the guy I fired last year. The one who tried to cheat me. Yeah. Looks like Scarlett didn't mind his business tactics, though. She's been working with him for months. Andrew scrolled through the messages, his expression darkening. She tried to sell my vacation home? The one she told the court she didn't care about. Yep. Looks like she wanted to flip it before the divorce was final so you'd never see a dime. His jaw clenched. That lying. He stopped himself, exhaling sharply. You have all this? Every message. Every email. Every meeting she had with that guy. I took a sip of my beer. You want to ruin her day? Andrew didn't hesitate. Hell yes. The next morning, the explosion was spectacular. I woke up to about 10 missed phone calls from Scarlett. I ignored them. Then came the texts. Scarlett, you snuck into my emails? Scarlett, you ruined everything. Scarlett, I swear to God, Mason, I will destroy you. I took my time getting ready before I called her back. The second she picked up the phone, she screamed, "You are a psychopath! You had no right to do that!" I yawned. "Morning, Scarlett. Something wrong? You ruined my deal." So Andrew had already acted. "Yeah," I said casually. "Turns out it's super illegal to fraudulently sell property during a divorce." "Who knew?" "You dash." She was so angry she could barely speak. "Andrew froze all my accounts. I have nothing." "Well, that's what happens when you cheat." She was breathing heavily. Then suddenly her voice dropped to a low, venomous whisper. "You think you won? You think this is over?" "Oh, Scarlett," I said, smiling. "This is so over." Then I hung up. And for the first time in a long, long time, I felt free. Scarlett was a snake. No matter how many times she got caught, she always found a way to wriggle out. But this time she was trapped. Andrew had frozen all her accounts, revoked her access to everything they shared, and filed an emergency motion with the court to prevent her from touching any assets until the divorce was final. She had nothing. Or so I thought. Because 2 days later, she tried one last desperate move and it backfired spectacularly. I was in the middle of lunch when my phone rang. It wasn't Scarlett. It was my dad. I almost didn't answer it. But something told me this was going to be good. I answered, keeping my voice casual. "Hello?" Dad didn't even say hello. "Did you call the IRS on us?" I almost choked on my food. "What?" "The feds, Mason. The IRS. They showed up today asking about suspicious financial activity." "What the hell did you do?" I sat up, now fully alert. "I didn't call anyone. What are you talking about?" But then, like a puzzle clicking into place, I knew. Scarlett. I almost laughed. She must have done something really stupid. I leaned back in my chair. "Dad, why would the IRS be looking at you?" He hesitated. "It's nothing. Just some tax stuff. But you must have." I cut him off. "No, I didn't. But maybe you should ask Scarlett." Silence. Then, "What did she do?" "I don't know. But given her history, I'd say something incredibly illegal." And I was right. Scarlett had been hiding more than just the real estate scheme. She had been playing tax evasion games. Big ones. Apparently, while married to Andrew, she had been funneling money through phony business expenses, claiming deductions she was not entitled to, and even using our parents' accounts to do it. She'd been living high on the hog, thinking she'd never get caught. But when Andrew froze her accounts, she panicked. And when people panic, they make mistakes. Her mistake? Trying to move money into an old offshore account that had already been flagged by the IRS for suspicious activity. The moment she touched it, alarms went off. And now the IRS was investigating her. And our parents. 2 days later, things got worse. I got a phone call from Uncle Robert. "You won't believe this," he said. "Try me. The FBI got involved." I almost dropped my phone. "The FBI?" "Yep. Turns out some of the business expenses Scarlett claimed were related to federal loan fraud. Your sister wasn't just screwing herself, she was dragging your dad into it, too." I burst out laughing. Uncle Robert chuckled. "I shouldn't be laughing, but damn it, Mason. This is a mess." I shook my head. "So what happens now?" "Well," he said, "if they find anything serious, your dad and Scarlett could be in real legal trouble." I sat back and took it all in. I hadn't planned for this. I had wanted revenge, but I had only expected to ruin their reputations, not get the feds involved. But you know what? They did it to themselves. And the best part? I was just getting started. Scarlett always thought she was untouchable. My parents thought they could protect her forever. But now, they were in real trouble. The IRS was on their backs. The FBI was sniffing around. Andrew had cut Scarlett out of every financial asset she thought she still had control over. And Uncle Robert had cut her off completely, refusing to help my father climb out of the hole he had dug for himself. But just when I thought things couldn't get any worse for them, something else happened. Something so much worse. It started with a phone call from Andrew. "Dude," he said, his voice somewhere between amused and shocked. "Your sister is crazy." I sighed. "What now?" "She broke into my house last night." I almost dropped my phone. "She what?" "Yep. The security cameras caught the whole thing. She used her old key, which I forgot to change, my bad, and tried to steal documents from my office." "Wait, what documents?" "The divorce papers. Probably hoping to destroy something that could be used against her. But guess what?" He laughed. "She set off the new security alarm. Cops showed up in 10 minutes. I pressed my fingers to my temple. "Tell me you pressed charges." "Oh, I absolutely did," he said. "Breaking and entering, attempted theft, you name it." She spent the night in jail. For the first time since this whole mess started, I was speechless. Scarlett, the golden child, the one who had spent her whole life manipulating our parents and getting away with everything, was actually behind bars. "Want to know the best part?" Andrew added. "Go on." "Your parents went down there to try to get her out. Guess what they found?" "What?" "They couldn't afford it." I blinked. "What do you mean?" He chuckled. "Because, Mason, while Scarlett was running her scam, she was also draining most of your parents' savings without telling them. She used their money to cover her shady business expenses, and now that the IRS is investigating, their accounts are completely frozen. They literally don't have enough liquid assets to post her bail." I let that sink in. Scarlett was stealing from them. My parents, who had defended her at every turn, who had turned their backs on me just to protect her. And now she had ruined them. A few hours later, I received a text message from Uncle Robert. "Robert, your dad just called me and asked for help." Robert told him to find out for himself. Robert, best Christmas ever. I grinned. 3 days later, I got another call from Andrew. "Well," he said, "Scarlett's out. But she's totally screwed." "What happened?" "She finally got a lawyer, but as soon as she got out of jail, she realized she had nowhere to go. Her bank accounts are frozen, her credit cards are maxed out, and her parents' house is in jeopardy because of the IRS case." "Wait." I paused. "Are you saying they could lose the house?" "Oh, absolutely. If they can't prove they weren't part of their scam, the government could seize it." I let out a low whistle. "So where is she now?" Andrew laughed. "Staying with her parents. But from what I hear, it's not going well." I could only imagine the scene. Scarlett, angry, humiliated, broke, and my parents, finally realizing that the daughter they had defended for years had destroyed them. A week later, I got a final call. From my father. I debated ignoring it. But curiosity got the better of me. I picked up the phone. "Hello?" There was a long silence. Then, finally, he spoke. "Mason," he said quietly, "I think we made a mistake." I didn't say anything. I just let him sit with it. Another pause. "I don't expect you to forgive us," he said. "But I just wanted to say that." For the first time in my life, my father admitted he was wrong. And it felt damn good. I thought about all the things they had done to me. The fake ticket. The years of siding with Scarlett. The way they turned their backs on me when I told the truth. And now? They had nothing. I exhaled slowly. "I appreciate the call, Dad," I said. Then I hung up. The end.